From great to grand, Exarban casts a new vision in Grand Island. Year 2 of the big livestock show brings new management. We'll have more this week on Grow. And how 4-H kids raise a calf they didn't choose and what they learned from it. Plus, Nebraska takes the lead with higher ethanol blends. Why farmers say the farm you save may be your own. Get ready to grow. One of the nation's premier youth livestock shows charts a new course. You're watching NTV's Grow. Thanks for joining us here at Exarban. The Exarban Stock Show moved to Grand Island last year, and this year the State Fair took over production of the event. They believe the new home at the State Fair Livestock Complex will be a big draw as word gets out.
We're trying to build a real family-friendly type of atmosphere environment. We've got some wonderful vendors that are set up. We've opened up the barn bar. We're going to have bands in there on Friday and Saturday night.
Things culminated with the Purple Ribbon Auction on Sunday night. Later, how some kids raised an animal they didn't choose and what they learned by doing. Corn powers our economy and our cars. Now Nebraska leads the way with higher ethanol blends. NTV's Lauren Coomer has more.
The pilot program will demonstrate to consumers they're able to use higher blends of ethanol with confidence in non-flex fuel vehicles. The idea behind this program, starting the use in state-owned vehicles, assessing the effects of E15 and E30 blends on vehicle performance, fuel economy, and emissions control systems. Farmer and Ethanol Board Chairman Scott McFeeters says he's been using higher ethanol blends in his non-flex fuel vehicle for years, and that the higher blends will provide cleaner air and don't harm or damage engines like many believe.
It is high octane, and so the higher compression engines are going to need that in the future, and so that's the intent of the program, is to exhibit or show that those blends will work fine in the cars we have.
The pilot program is expected to launch within the next couple of weeks. Lauren Coomer, NTV News, Gothenburg.
Lauren caught the McFeeters family on a break during harvest, and many have been in the field. The latest crop snapshot from the USDA shows a big jump in harvest progress. 13% of soybeans have been cut. 9% of corn has been picked. Those crops continue to rate mostly good to excellent. Harvest appears to be slightly ahead of schedule with some dry days to get in the field. This week came word from the president. Negotiations are underway with one of Nebraska's biggest trade partners. President Trump this week announced talks are underway with Japan. It's one of Nebraska's most important trade partners, a top 3 customer for Nebraska beef, pork, corn, wheat, and soybeans. As the trade war continues, Governor Pete Ricketts says he wants the White House to make progress soon, saying farmers will feel the pinch as that harvest has started coming in.
So that's been one of our key messages to the administration when it comes to trade, is let's get these deals done. We have a window of opportunity here over the summer, but that window is coming to a close as our farmers and ranchers are reaching harvest. They're going to want certainty around where they're going to be able to sell their corn or their beans. So let's get these trade deals wrapped up.
Japan is Nebraska's 4th largest export market, with more than $1 billion of exports in 2016. And President Trump signs the Korean free trade deal. Steve Nelson of Nebraska Farm Bureau called the move welcome for Nebraska farmers and ranchers, saying trade with South Korea benefits Nebraska's economy, adding, quote, Nebraska Farm Bureau's own economic analysis shows the Chorus agreement was worth roughly $340 million to Nebraska agriculture in terms of total exports in 2016. The fact this trade agreement will continue is a win for Nebraska agriculture, our farm and ranch families, and Nebraska's broader economy, end quote. As Election Day nears, a pair of Nebraska farm groups endorse change in the governor's office. Farmers Union and ICON, the independent cattlemen of Nebraska, gave impassioned endorsements of Senator Bob Christ. They say they don't agree with him on every issue, but they do agree with him on their #1 issue, which is that property taxes are an overwhelming burden on farmers and ranchers.
They I've had two questions, very fundamental questions. How do you bring the legislature together? You find a common goal and a common purpose. And there's no more common purpose or goal at this point than property taxes and the proper funding for education. So bringing these folks together is the key.
Ranchers with the independent cattlemen say high taxes will drive farmers and ranchers out of the state. Farmers Union says Governor Pete Ricketts has had the chance to provide tax relief and failed.
Governor Ricketts is simply not in our corner on that issue, and that his primary objective is to get a personal and corporate income tax cut at a time when our state is already short of being able to meet our fiscal obligations.
The group say we are in the worst farm crisis since the 1980s. Governor Pete Ricketts has picked up endorsements of his own, including from Nebraska Farm Bureau, the state's largest general farm organization. So which candidate for governor do you think would be best for Nebraska agriculture? Bob Christ or Pete Ricketts? That's our poll question this week. Follow Grow on Twitter. As always, results are not scientific. Later, we see what happens when kids are assigned a calf at random to show here at Exarban. Up next, the Farm Bill is expiring. We talk about what's next.